You're listening to the New Artist Workshop.
In a galaxy far, far away, a brother and sister search for their missing parents.
How are we gonna find them?
We will. Don't worry.
Hello and welcome back to your favorite podcast. Now that's what I call a franchise. I'm Peter Mancuso.
And I'm Viviana Metzger, and this is the show where Peter and I pick a film franchise and go through every single installment. The good, the bad, and this one.
And to be clear, we're defining a franchise as a series of films with at least 4 entries. So, Viviana, what are we talking about today?
Okay, so today we are talking about the 1984 film, The Ewok Adventure. However,
in some regions,
it is different on Disney Plus.
So the context is that it had a very limited theatrical release, I think, in other countries.
You gotta let them know so they don't watch the wrong one.
So it's called. It was often called the Caravan of Courage.
It's the Caravan of Courage. An entire caravan full of
and so I imagine that this version we watched was like the higher quality version because it didn't look like a TV movie.
Sure.
In the sense that it didn't look.
Is it a TV movie?
It started as a TV movie.
Okay.
But when you're watching on Disney Plus, it looks like, oh, this is like film. Mm-hmm. Whereas when you would have been watching on TV, it would have been like a TV rip of it. Like when we watched the Star Wars Holiday Special, like it has like that 70s, 80s like video. Pixelation's the wrong word, mm-hmm. but watching this, it was like very crisp and clean, and there was no like fade outs to commercial. It was. So I imagine that the version we watched is like the one that they would have put in theaters, right?
They can do that?
Because they have the source.
Put a TV movie in the theater after?
Yeah, why wouldn't they be able to? They own the rights.
I don't know. It just seems like 2 different levels.
You can do whatever you want.
But it's like, aren't TV movies for a reason?
They're TV movies because they're...
And not shown in theaters.
TV movies are TV movies because they're cheaper.
Yeah, they're not...
And they're not as good. And back in the 80s, TV was seen as, like, lesser. So it was like, we want to make this cheaper thing. It's a different market, right? Mm-hmm. Different ways you make money. Movies, you make money by people coming and buying tickets. TV, you make money by... people choosing to tune in and then watching the ads, and the money you make from the ads is how you make money back on it.
Why would I go to the theater and watch a movie if I could just watch it on TV?
Because I think this came out, I think it was released in theaters after. It wasn't like it was playing every... I think you think of it like syndication, where it's like you could watch the same Hannah Montana episode like 50 times in like a 4-month span, like a month, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Whereas this like aired, they may have aired it a couple times, but it wasn't like it was airing every night at 8 p.m. or something. And so I think it was released in theaters after. Again, very limited theatrical run, and I don't even know if it was in the United States. Mm-hmm. So like on Letterboxd, this is called the Ewok Adventure, but other people grew up with it, calling it the Caravan of Courage. Caravan of Courage, colon, and Ewok Adventure. Mm-hmm. Like just any old Ewok.
And there was like a third part too.
That was just the Ewoks cartoon show on Disney Plus.
No. In the title, there were like, it was really long.
It should have just been Caravan of Courage, colon, and Ewok Adventure.
Okay.
This is your one and only spoiler warning.
Anyway, spoiler warning. Go watch it on Disney Plus if you got it. Here's the Letterboxd.
Don't be too enthusiastic. Don't be too excited.
I'm going to be honest, I don't really have much for this one.
And this one's fresh. We watched it like last night.
Yeah.
Like less than 24 hours ago.
Wicket, the Ewok, and his friends agree to help 2 shipwrecked human children, Mace and Sindel, on a quest to find their parents.
That's it. It's a whole
That's
lot
not
of
even accurate, but okay.
What do you mean?
Well, first of all, they're not his friends. They're his brothers and his father. First of all.
Some of them are his friends. The Ewok priestess.
Okay, the random
woodsman.
The random lady and huntsman that they found in the woods. Okay, they're friends.
Yeah, so this one's... So let's do some basic info here. I don't even know where it is.
Quest to find their parents. I thought their parents were eaten.
No, they were just kidnapped.
Well, we'll talk about it because I was like... He was like, oh, look, it's Dad's life band. And I was like, oh.
That means he's dead.
That means Dad ain't got no life anymore. He was like, I wonder if he lost it. Why is it on here? Because he probably got eaten.
Yeah.
It turns out he didn't get eaten. So.
But...
He was about
or at the very least, it's like, why... You see a wild, evil animal with your father's stuff, and your first thought is, he's alive. I'm like, if I see that, I don't know if he's alive, and if anything, I'm like, oh, he dead. My first thought would not be, oh, good, he's alive.
I know, that's what he's...
Maybe his thinking was, oh, well, like, his body isn't here, but, like, maybe he was just digest.
Yeah, what?
Anyway, so here's some basic info. So it was directed by John Korty. It was written by Bob Carrau with a story by George Lucas. Produced by Thomas G. Smith and Patricia Rose Duignan. It was distributed by ABC, so that's where it aired. And it was this aired in November of 1984. So about a year and a half after Return of the Jedi came out. So it helped kind of feed that hunger for more Star Wars content. Obviously, you've never seen this before. Did you know that we were watching this until the last episode when I said the next movie in the franchise? Did you even know we were going to watch this? No. So I don't think I had mentioned this. Well, obviously I made the script.
I mean, did you even know about this?
I knew about this as a kid, and I believe I may have even had the DVD briefly. Watched maybe 3 minutes, and even as a child went, this is not Star Wars, stopped it, and then like traded in the DVD. Like I didn't even finish it. But I've been aware of this forever.
Strange. Okay.
But, well, I'm a Star Wars nerd.
This is a very different...
During the prequel era, it was like, we're going to just basically re-release anything semi-popular on DVD or re-release the book or whatever it might be. So I believe this probably... I don't know this for sure, but I would not be surprised if this got its official DVD release, like, in the mid-2000s or the early 2000s. During that Star Wars kind of... While it was really, really popular again.
I gotcha.
Right. But yeah, so I knew about this, but really knew nothing about this. I knew it existed, but I really couldn't tell you even... Like, certain things we'll watch on this show that I haven't seen, but I've, like, absorbed through osmosis, certain, like, things about the movie. This one, I had no idea what the tone was going to be like. I didn't know what the plot was going to be. I knew next to nothing.
It's pure courage.
It was just pure courage. I kind of prefer the title Caravan of Courage.
Yeah.
An Ewok Adventure.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like, I don't know why you... Because they probably just named it the Ewok Adventure because that's, like, very much on its face. Like, the second word is, like, the word... It's a Star Wars word! Yeah. This is Star Wars!
Yeah.
And then later they were, like, Caravan of Courage and just one of many Ewok Adventures. Whereas this is the Ewok Adventure.
It's just been the Ewoks Caravan of Courage.
The Caravan of Ewok Courage. The Caravan of Courageous Ewoks. The Caravan of Courageous Creatures. So here's a little bit of background about the movie. So in terms of its inception, you gotta love when a movie on Wikipedia has a section called Inception. It's Inception. George Lucas had allowed the Star Wars universe to be produced for television in 1978 with the Star Wars Holiday Special, which proved to be an embarrassment, as we talked about. Lucas assumed greater control over a planned half-hour television project about Ewoks. When shopping the film around, Smith, who I think we said was one of the producers, discovered that none of the TV networks at the time were interested in airing a half-hour special, but ABC did show interest in a 2-hour movie of the week. A movie of the week was like a thing, right, where it was just like TV movies. So again, like cheaply, quickly made.
Yes, of the week.
It was weekly, yes. So they were interested, maybe doing it for something like that, even though it was only 96 minutes. Though with commercials, it would have been like 2 hours. Yeah. The project was expanded to fill the request. The producers initially conceived of the project as a cross between Hansel and Gretel and Tarzan of the Apes.
Oh, is that the full title?
That might just be like the generic, because it was originally a written serial by Edgar Rice Burroughs.
I thought it was just a book.
I believe it was. If it has been compiled into a book, a serial. So like we talk about movie serials. Think that, but written. So like every week or month in this newspaper or magazine, you would read like essentially a chapter. A lot of old books were like, it wasn't illustrated, it was just written. So it was like the continuing adventures of Tarzan. You would read this little short story about like what happens next in the story, right? I believe that's how Great Expectations by Charles Dickens was written. Each chapter, when you read it in book form, each chapter was its own serial entry that every week or month or whatever it was, and he was paid by the word, so that's why it's so wordy. To the chagrin of English students across the of ninth grade English students across the country in the United States and probably England. In terms of the visual effects, both Ewok films were some of the last intensive stop-motion animation work ILM ever produced, as by the early 1980s, the technique was being replaced by Go Motion, which is an advanced form of animation with motorized puppets that move while the camera shutter is open. However, Go Motion was too expensive for the budgets of the Ewoks film, so stop-motion was used to realize creatures such as the Goraks. Go Motion is like what we saw with the Rancor in the last one, where like it's clearly not like a dude, where basically they would do it where it would be a mechanized kind of puppet. So it's not someone actively in real time puppeteering. Like they would program it to move a certain way, but it would move much more slowly. But they would film it less frames per second. So when you play back at 24, it's like the speeder bike chase. Like they filmed it at like less than 1 frame a second. Yeah. So when you play it back, it's faster. It's the same idea, but they didn't have the money to do that, so they just did classic stop motion, and it shows. It looks like something like Beetlejuice, right? I will say though, I really appreciated the VFX in this. I thought for a TV movie from 1984, I thought the VFX were actually exceptional. For considering the context, like it looks like it doesn't look as good as the original Star Wars films, but it looks as good as any other fantasy movie from the 80s. Like the stop motion is meh, but like any of like the creature designs, like I like the Goraks. I like the up close shots of like the wild wolf boar creature that they fight. It's on par, I feel, with like a Never-Ending Story or Princess Bride.
Yes, I was getting Never-Ending Story and the Indian in the Cupboard vibes.
Well, we'll talk about that. I feel like this is way more like Star Wars was never really science fiction. It was always like that blend between it's the thematic ambitions of fantasy with the set dressing of science fiction. This one is way more fantasy. Yeah. It feels, and I wrote down in my notes, it almost feels like another version, like an alternate universe of like what Star Wars could have been.
Yes. The
like,
magical forest.
Like magical, so they say in the beginning an enchanted forest.
Or enchanted forest, yes. And then the pond where the boy gets stuck.
It feels way more magical.
Yeah.
In a traditional fantasy sense, right?
And there's the shaman.
Because really the only thing that makes it Star Warsy is the fact that they crash landed on the planet in a Star Cruiser, and we see the Star Cruiser. Yeah. And he has like a gun, like a blaster. Yeah. Other than that, you took out those small elements.
Dressed exactly like the rebels.
I believe he was intentionally cast because he looked like a young Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
And he's literally wearing like an orange, like the suit.
Haircut and everything. Yeah.
Like that bowl cut. So it kind of seems like what George Lucas was maybe afraid of his original film being like, kind of lower budget TV movie, kind of sleepy. Like this movie's very sleepy, and I don't know how better to articulate it. Like very kind of just like low key. It's just like them kind of going through the forest. Like it's just very. It's just
until
very
something
chill.
happens.
Until something. It does that 80s movies thing where it's like they're having the most fun ever and the music is all like delightful, and then like the most traumatic thing will happen. And I just get whiplash where I'm like, I don't feel safe. I don't know how to feel about a scene because at any moment, like in movies, like other 80s movies, like it'll be like a kid's doing something and then he'll get like beaten to near death by a bully or something, and then like he's in the hospital. So it just.
You're just hanging on a tree, hanging out, and then all of a sudden, this horse is gone, running away with the baby inside.
With Sindel.
And
he's like, we gotta go after her!
I'm just sitting here, bouncing on my tree stick. I don't know what you want me to do about it.
But I don't want to get too much into my notes yet, but just to kind of reiterate this point that it feels Well, I try not to, but it feels like what Star Wars could have been in like the dark timeline. Like if Star Wars, if he wasn't able to secure a bigger budget, or the first one, because remember he was kind of getting prepared if the first one didn't do well. He commissioned that story to be written, that novel to be written.
Oh, yes.
That would be more low budget. It would be like one planet, more fantasy, where it's like they're exploring ruins.
Is that this?
No, but I'm just saying it's like it's a similar idea. It's like a cheaper TV movie, right? Of course, when we talked about when it was released, the Ewok Adventure was first shown on American television on November 25th, 1985 on ABC. In its overseas theatrical release, it was rechristened Caravan of Courage, an Ewok Adventure, end quote. Oh, boy. So what did we think of this? You are, right now, way more dispassionate about it. I thought you kind of liked it when we watched it. So tell me how you feel. Are you just kind of feeling low today in general? Or have you soured on it? Or was my evaluation of you last night incorrect? Like where are you at with this?
I mean, no, I liked it for what it was, but I think there were some things that, like, didn't really make it up to par with the other things that we're comparing it to.
Of course not, no.
So I was just really just bored because everyone was a bad actor.
That's what I mean by sleepy, where it's just like it has a very dull kind of energy.
Like
about it.
I like the Lord of the Rings, like I'm fine with like the kind of more sleepier things, but it's just like.
Yeah, but Lord of the Rings isn't like that.
I don't.
Though. It's, yeah.
Oh well, sometimes they're just walking in the woods for a long time.
But you feel an urgency, a sense of urgency. Whereas this one is just kind of like, I always forget what their goal is.
They're going to go find their parents.
No, I know, but then while we're in the adventure, I'm just kind of like, because there's no sense of urgency. They're just like having fun. They're playing in the meadow.
Well, yeah, you gotta take a break every once in a while.
I know.
But no, honestly, I just don't care about the characters, and they were all. I'm sorry, guys. I know, but I'm sorry. They were all bad actors.
I don't think you have to apologize to anyone. I feel like you and I are going to be more forgiving of this movie than most people would be.
Well, you don't want to.
Which I'm surprised about.
You don't want to, go around saying, "Oh, you're bad at your job," but
Yeah. Well, he's an adult now. All the children in this are adults.
Oh,
and all the adults are probably
the
dead.
Girl. she's giving me. I forgot her name. Karen. I don't know. The girl from Mean Girls, and she's like.
Oh, Amanda Seyfried.
I'm sick.
Yeah, that's what she's like. So reportedly, it's never been confirmed, but reportedly, Drew Barrymore as a child was going to play this, coming off of E.T.
Oh, okay.
E.T., but then I unconfirmed. It's not like there's a reason she dropped it. She didn't drop out. I don't think she was ever officially signed on.
Oh, well, that would have been different, but.
Which makes sense because she had just been with Spielberg, and obviously Lucas and Spielberg are close, and they would have.
But no, one, I was kind of confused about the whole situation in general, and then once I was like, okay, I get it now, but who are these people? Why do I care about this snotty kid and his sister?
He's all the complaints people make about Luke in the first one being annoying. He's really not that annoying and whiny. This kid is. Mace is really whiny.
Yeah, I don't know.
To the point where it's almost he's insufferable. If something happens, I could predict not what he was gonna say, but the intent, he's gonna be like, oh, that's never gonna work, and then sure enough, he would say something like that. He became that kind of character.
Yeah.
Where his whole arc is learning not to be whiny, a whiny bitch, and learn he calls the Ewoks dirty hairbrushes.
Which okay, I understand the setup for that and everything, but he was going to shoot them, and now all of a sudden he's demanding medicine from them. I just think it's a little strange. And then sleeping there, no questioning, just we're giving your sister some random thing you've never heard of. It's okay, she'll get better.
Some strange leaf juice.
Yeah, it'll get better. You just trust them? You were just about to shoot them. And then they just tied you up like a hog and brought you to their
That's right, they did. They did. They tied them up like they do in Return of the Jedi when they're on the sticks, like they're like pigs on a luau.
What's going on here? I don't know. It was just bad. It's just boring.
That's the thing. That's the movie's biggest sin, is that it's just boring. It's not... The holiday special, you watch it, and it was boring, but most of the problems with the holiday special are that you're just, like, baffled that they made that choice.
Yeah, just strange and uncomfortable.
Right?
Like,
Whereas this one, I'm not baffled by any choices. I'm just kind of like, okay. Like, it was just kind of like, you're just kind of going through the motions.
Yeah, maybe it's the modern lens or something, but, like...
I don't think it was super well received when it came out either.
But even with, like, the...
It didn't take the world by storm. And then now we're coming at it.
Never-ending story, I mean, there was, like, some you know, stuff to that. And when we were watching it, you were like, oh, the score is really carrying.
The score is really carrying it. Because it would be... Because, like, the Ewoks... Because it's not CGI, like, they only have so much mobility. So it's, like, hard for them to, like,
were
run.
The best actors.
The Ewoks were easily the best part of it. Despite them, some would argue, were the worst part of the last one. They are easily the best part of this. Like, they have the best acting. Yes. And they are very cute. Yes. Even more so in this one, because we get way more of them. Mm-hmm. And this movie learned the lesson. It learned from the mistakes of the holiday special, where we don't just have extended sequences of Ewokese and no English. They provide a narration, almost like, I thought this when watching it, and then I saw a trivia bit, and I don't know if this is just someone's conjecture or if this is true. Mm-hmm. Supposedly, they modeled it after, like, nature documentaries. Mm. And can you believe the narrator is Burl Ives, legendary actor who plays the narrator / snowman in Rudolph? So I was watching it, and I was like, why does this voice sound so familiar? And then I remembered...
As soon as I heard that, I was like, oh, this is a completely different vibe. This is like Rankin and Bass vibes, like right away. Like Kitty for sure. And not like anything else anyone would try to like, oh, Star Wars is actually like this. Like this is like going way Kitty, you know? Like to have narration like that, it's kind of weird. But... Mm-hmm. And I think it's like fine to have the Ewokese in, right? And I'm like, just... Okay, think about like a...
Apparently they're able to articulate human words?
I guess so. Well, they were just mimicking things, but it seems they were kind of grasping the
They were grasping
idea.
some of the grammar there. Or at least some of the vocab.
Or the ideas of...
Like, obviously they can speak, they have their own language, but I always understood where it's like, the reason why our language exists the way it is because of the very specific, discrete, physical characteristics of our mouths and tongues. If you have a species that has a different characteristics, they're not necessarily going to be able to form the same words.
Which they have little tongues. Did you see his
They did have little tongues. I think that was just like the actor's tongue inside. Something we didn't talk about with the last one is the actor who plays Wicket is the same from the last one. And it's actually a little person boy, like a child.
Oh, he was a child. Okay.
And his name is Warwick Davis.
I thought he was supposed to be an adult.
No, he was always supposed to be a kid.
But now I realize that. Because he's like the smallest one of all.
The smallest one of all, Wicket. Warwick Davis is interesting because I believe they were originally just going to have Kenny Baker play Wicket. Oh. Who, of course, is R2-D2.
Yeah.
And he was in England. He's British, and they were filming, and he heard, like, a thing on the radio, like, looking for little people to be in Star Wars movie or whatever, and his grandmother knew he loved Star Wars, so she like called up and got the info. So he was in it, but because he was so well liked that they kind of let him be Wicket. Mm-hmm. So what I'm saying is, so it's really kind of sweet. Like he was a Star Wars fan, then he got to like be in it and become kind of like an iconic. And then he kind of developed a relationship with Lucasfilm. So there was a fantasy series around the same time called Willow, directed by Ron Howard. That he starred in as like an elf creature.
I'm looking it up, and he looks very familiar.
He was also in Harry Potter as one of the...
Oh, he's in Harry Potter.
As one of the somethings. He might have been one of the the clearly anti-Semitic like dwarves or elves or whatever that run the banks.
Well, you know, people got...
We should have known about J.K. Rowling then. We should have known. When she named... What's the name of the Asian girl that he falls in love with?
Oh, what is it, like May or something?
No, it's like Chow... it's something really kind of like racist kind of sounding.
Chinese girl.
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter. Katie Leung?
No, that's like an actor. Probably.
Katie Leung began her career as she was cast by Cho Chang
Cho Chang.
in the Harry Potter film.
Anyway,
Cho
my
Chang.
point is that Warwick Davis was like a kid. He was like a preteen or teenager. Mm-hmm. And I believe him and the actor who played Mace became really friendly. Mm. And I think I don't know if I put in my trivia, but apparently they filmed, like, the producers of the film thought it would be interesting to give them like a little camcorder. Okay. So they filmed like a little mini behind the scenes documentary that was only released like in like the last decade or something.
It's so silly.
Kind of just like two preteen teen boys kind of. So that's kind of cute.
Being space creatures.
Yeah. But I gotta say I liked this way more than I thought I would.
Yeah, it was cute.
It was cute. It was very simple, but not. Again, there weren't a lot of strong creative choices made. Yeah. So it's not like the holiday special where most of that is boring, but then there's just so many ridiculous choices that I'm just like, you make fun of me for the baseball metaphor. Right?
It's like, it was cute, but it's like the acting, I think, that really just kind of makes it drag on.
It has like Star Wars production value, but 80s TV movie acting quality.
Yeah.
That's the thing, you know what I mean? Like,
and I mean, that's always
they spared no expense on everything else, but then
that's always a gamble with kids, but like, I don't know. I feel like there's some ways to maybe get around it, but I guess not.
I understand why they did it, but a big way to get around it is you wrote the story. You don't have to have a story about human children.
You need if you're gonna go to the Ewok
I understand the marketing. I understand the marketing reason, but it's like, ultimately at the end. We said that in the last episode. It's like you wrote it, like you created the conditions that you're like, oh well, I have to do this because of this. It's like but you created the conditions for that. You're the one who wrote it.
It could have been a different setup though, so that it doesn't demand such.
It doesn't lean like the parents could say it could be the whole family, so it doesn't have to lean on the kids as much. Because essentially, the kids are the only human characters we have for 90%, 95% of the movie.
I think the only one.
So the only people, we get the parents in the very beginning.
Well, yeah, the parents.
And then we have some narration. But really...
well, you don't see them.
It's like we talked about with literature, how it's like when you're reading, you kind of fill in the blanks in your head of like how it is said, certain like dialogue exchanges in a novel. It helps that the Ewoks aren't speaking English, right? Because then we don't have an expectation of like, they're being a good actor in terms of like their line delivery, the body language, because like they have no face, but they have a face, but it's a static face. There's no, manipulation of that, and they're not speaking English.
Yes.
So it hurts your film if you're only going to have two human characters for most of it, or rather only two sources of English dialogue, have them be two young, inexperienced actors.
And
I believe it was the girl's first movie role ever.
It's introducing.
Introducing. Yeah. I always wonder how do they decide like who's being introduced? So anytime you're a new person in a movie, you get an introducing, or when they say featuring.
No, featuring would be like a big person, right?
I guess so.
I don't know. Whatever. Anyways, so sorry, but yeah.
So sorry.
But not very good. Even for children actors are a little bad. And the parents were not good.
The parents were not good either. That's the thing. I'm not blaming it on the fact they're kids.
Opening scene and the parents was like, what the fuck is this?
The dialogue doesn't help. Talk about a scene where they're just saying stuff that they already know, but they're just saying it for the audience. Like, if you were to like read the script of that opening scene, I would wager 95% of every word spoken is really just for the audience to know this info. Like, it would make no sense that they would say this. They're just kids. Like, you guys don't need to say that. You guys both know they're just kids.
It reminded me, I felt like it was like an early script of Boy Meets World, and that they were just like saying it very strangely.
It just feels like
they're like, oh, so you're telling me bailing on your friends isn't cool? Oh, well, they're children out there alone. Of course they're scared.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Okay, yeah. You don't seem very concerned as parents. Where the fuck were you?
And talk. I like the comparison to like sitcoms like that, because sitcoms like that always had, and to varying degrees of success, because sometimes it did emotionally work, but a lot of sitcoms get made fun of, rightfully so, because a lot of times they often have like these like very saccharine kind of like emotional like the here's the lesson. Moment. Full House is egregious of this.
I only say that because I've seen it within like the
you see that here, Mace
year.
and is learning his,
and so I've like gone back. I'm like, oh, this is like really on the nose, you know.
Mace being like, maybe I shouldn't have been so rash. Like it's like one of those kinds of vibes.
Which of course is gonna happen, but it's like that's all that's there, and then it's like poorly delivered. So then it's like okay.
Now here's a good question.
But it was funny. He got it classic. He got a rock, and he was like, "I want this stupid rock.
I want the cool gem."
Threw it out, and then of course Wicket picked it up. Turns out, I don't know why you didn't hear anything, but it's not really a rock.
It's like a
one
container.
of those fake rocks
that has a
magical
like arrowhead that like
it's like a compass
that like goes to where, and then he's like,
it's like like the whispering wills, like in Merida.
Sure, yeah,
Merida?
yeah.
You know, like the little,
I don't really remember.
The little blue spirits that show her to
kind of lead the way,
get through the forest.
And then it goes by this rock. He's like, "Oh, there's supposed to be a cave behind there. Let me blow up this rock." And he uses his blaster, and it's annoying because I'm pretty sure the sound effect for the blaster is not like the blaster sound effects from the movie. It's like a different. It's like the sound effects for like one of the ships firing.
Well, it was different. It wasn't a single. It's not a single shot.
It's like a continuous, almost like a ray.
It's like red spaghetti.
It is kind of like red spaghetti. The only other thing I would say, and we've talked about this on the show a million times, that by virtue, like the movie actually looks quite good because it was shot on film. And it's like, it's just so disappointing that even like the most mediocrely shot film of this era still has something to offer that like even a really good digitally shot film just can't offer. Like there's just like a texture to everything. Yeah. That I was like, why did they do such a good job of like restoring this film strip? Like Disney really went all out. Like knowing Disney, they could have just phoned it in and just uploaded like a DVD quality rip of the movie and just put it on Disney Plus and be done with it. And no one would have cared. And I believe actually the only reason why this is on Disney Plus as well as the sequel is because the actor who played Mace complained, started a petition online because it was like Disney was touting how like all of Star Wars stuff is on Disney Plus, and he was like, not everything. And he started a petition, and then a couple months later they put it on.
They're like all the Star Wars stuff, Mace, not
Ewok,
not all the Star Wars stuff. It's like all the stuff we want people to know about.
Yeah, we don't want people to think about this when they think of Star Wars. So. And notably, the holiday special I don't think is on Disney Plus, but the Boba Fett cartoon from it is on Disney Plus.
That's for a reason, though. That was only shown once.
Yeah.
Ever, which I'm glad they had DVR or whatever, because like.
Well, not DVR. They would have put in a physical blank VHS and then just filmed it, or like recorded it.
Yes. Oh, that's right. Oh my gosh.
I used to do that.
That was so scary because you don't know like what's on it.
You don't want to accidentally write over it.
You don't want to tape over it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Talk about sitcoms. That was always like every sitcom had the one episode where someone accidentally overwrites something. Like on Everyone Loves Raymond, he accidentally tapes a football game over like their wedding video.
Yeah, I think part of my birth video was overrun by Friends, an episode of Friends.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, those are all my notes. I mean, it's surprisingly better than I thought it was going to be, but still. Now here's two questions. And really probably just one question because I might forget the second one. If you were a kid in 1984, do you think you would like this movie? Like, do you think this worked for the audience that it was meant for?
Yeah.
Like, do you think you would just be like, oh, that's fine, whatever, or would you be like, that was so awesome?
No, I think it's cool, and I think...
What do you think the age demographic is? Because I feel like it's not even like... Because the Star Wars demographic is obviously all ages, but I feel like the original movies were, like, you really like them if you're, like, 8 to 13.
Yeah.
This, I would say, is somehow even younger. Like, it's, like, really towards, like, like preschool age or like first or second grade.
Preschool age is fucking scary. What are you talking about?
It's preschool movie scary.
It has that like classic 80s like scare the shit out of you for no reason type thing. Like a never ending story. Like it's like this whole thing, and then the wolf comes out of nowhere and he's like terrifying.
I'm not saying it's for a certain audience because of how scary or not scary it is. I'm saying in terms of like the tone, like how like
no, I know.
Superficial it is.
I'm just saying that okay, but then you get to those parts and you're like, well shit, okay, thanks. So
I think it's I think it's for like 6 or 7 year olds is what I'm saying. Like maybe like you're in the first grade, like you're a little bit older.
I would say up to middle school.
No.
Well, at least
if you're in middle school in the
children.
mid-'80s, there's so much cooler, edgier stuff to watch. Even if it's just like Transformers
well,
or G.I. Joe.
Watched that too.
Yeah, but this is like a whole level down, is what I'm saying. It's like way... Okay, so you think that kids would like it?
I would enjoy it.
You would enjoy it.
I think I would have enjoyed it more as a kid.
Because you're a loser!
No, I know. Not knowing how things were made, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of like letting that wash over.
Yeah.
But now, being a grown-up and knowing how things are made, it's just kind of silly. So, yeah.
I will say I did enjoy parts of this because it was, like, stupid.
I did like the Gorax, though. That was
the Gorax is one of the few
character
things that is
design.
carried into Star Wars, into the canon, or at least the
is
old
it?
canon.
Okay.
Like, I think there was a Star Wars video game, an MMO, which is like think like World of Warcraft, where it's like MMO is massively multiplayer online. So it's like one of those games where it's not like a story. It's just like you just run around with other people in real time.
Wizarding 101.
Right? There was a Star Wars MMO called Star Wars Galaxy in Empire Divided, I think. That was very popular. And I believe when you go to Endor, they put Goraxes in it. Right? Because it's a cool creature.
Well, yeah, I think it's cool because it's like not only the like...
He's almost like Bigfoot.
Kinda, yeah. Well, I like it because it brings more of a fantasy element to it, whereas like, you know, with a lot of Star Wars and space and all that stuff,
They feel like
seems
alien
very
monsters.
sterile, like, I don't know, just like, but this is like more grounding, where it's like there's an enchanted forest.
Like
and
more
there's, like,
earthy.
a Gorax, and yeah.
Whereas like even when you see aliens in Star Wars, like monsters on other planets, like the Rancor seems like an alien.
Yeah.
Right? Even though we're not in space, like it's still for all intents and purposes
Seems
on a
more
planet.
This seems more like a centaur, like in like...
Like a classical fantasy creature.
Like a mythology or something. I mean, I didn't like him though. He's scary looking.
No.
He's scary
I
looking.
like him creatively. I wouldn't want to have a beer with him. No.
It'd be too big for you. You would drown in it.
And then he would eat me. So why was he keeping them in a cage?
He's gonna eat them.
But why not just eat them? Was he waiting? Why was he waiting?
I guess he was finishing his leftovers.
They were in like a bird cage. So like...
Because he started chewing on the bone.
That's right.
And
He's like, oh.
No more meat, I guess.
Oh yeah, I caught some human a couple days ago.
I don't know.
Do I have some trivia?
Sure.
Okay. The film was shot entirely in Marin County, home of Skywalker Ranch. Much of the action was shot in a public parkland called Roy's Redwoods, which contains 300-year-old sequoias, the oldest in the area.
They are big boys, let me tell you. Did you see some when we went to San Francisco? No, I don't think so, right?
We didn't go.
They are some big boys. Like, you know they're big, but like...
Until you see it in person.
You're like, holy shit, these trees are huge.
Like, seeing it in person, being able to look up is like, yeah.
Like, not only like tall, but also like wide,
the
too.
girth.
Yeah.
Pretty girthy. Eyelids had to be created for the sleeping Ewoks because the original masks used in Return of the Jedi did not have them.
That's right.
Like we said.
Because I remember seeing...
So we were joking. It was like, what do they do when they're sleeping? Are their eyes just open?
Because we saw it, but I didn't really think about it. And then you asked later on. I was like, well, shit, I can't remember if they had eyelids or not.
So I think they gave them just for the sleeping parts, but they still don't blink.
Yeah, well, they have to keep their eyeballs moist while they sleep.
Of course. The movie was finished in 9 weeks. 6 weeks of shooting, 1 week of reshoots, and 2 weeks of dubbing.
Oh, wow.
At least in terms of the production. That doesn't mean the pre-production and the post, but just like the actual production parts. 9 weeks.
Wow.
During the first broadcast, this is something interesting I didn't know about. During the first broadcast of the special, some TV markets simulcasted the audio on a local FM radio station, presumably to allow it to be watched in stereo, before such a thing was commonplace. So I think the idea would be, like, you know how you go to a drive-in?
Yeah.
And the audio is in your car?
Mm-hmm.
I think the idea would be that you would set up radios, like little, like, personal radios around your room.
Yeah.
Mute the TV, turn onto the station, and watch it like that.
Well, why would you do that if it's coming through the TV?
Because you would mute the TV, now you have it where it's more surrounding you, as opposed to just coming out of the TV. Interesting workaround, I guess.
Early surround sound.
Yeah. Eric Walker was chosen to play Mace Tawane because of his resemblance to Mark Hamill. Walker was often mistaken for Hamill on the set.
Of course. He's literally wearing the same damn outfit.
One of the matte paintings includes Winnie the Pooh sitting in a tree.
What is our painting?
Remember the
like
backgrounds.
Matte, like for the like concept art.
No, matte paint. Remember we talked about like pre-CGI, like you would create these really
yes,
detailed paintings that would be the background of a scene or something.
I wish I had seen that.
Is that even true? So let's see. Caravan of Courage.
It's like all the stuff in the other movies, like in Tarzan and the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, like when they sneak.
It's like when the Wizard of Oz and the
when they sneak in like a naked woman, they did that.
What? No, one of the Munchkins hung themselves.
No, that's not true. That's a myth.
You can see it.
That's a matte painting in the background.
Someone matte painted.
That's a myth. You cannot see it. You see an outline that if you tell someone, it's like suggestion. Like if you tell someone that's that, you see it. But if you just show that image to someone, they wouldn't think that necessarily. It's a myth. That's a myth.
I don't know. Well, in Tarzan, it's real.
Do you want me to tell you a real one?
Sure.
In the 70s, Disney made an animated film called The Rescuers.
Oh yes, the little mice.
Little mice. And of course, as we know in the 70s, this was really a low point for Disney animation in terms of the quality on every level. And Disney animators were pretty demoralized. So one of them thought it'd be funny. There's a part where they're like zooming by. They're like, the mice are flying down on something past a bunch of apartment windows.
Yeah.
For one frame. A single frame. So 1/24th of a second. They put in a actual image, a photo of a topless woman.
Oh.
Because they were like, well, no one will ever see it. Because this is pre-home media where you can pause it. So later, someone in like 10, 15 years later discovered this.
Is that legal?
And they had to like re-release it. Almost like when a car gets recalled.
Yeah, like how did that get past the MPA?
Because the viewer at the MPAA didn't see it because it was 1/24th of a second.
Well, if you don't blink during that 1/24th, you should still be able to see it, right?
You might just see it flash, like you'll see something flash, but you don't know what it was.
You wouldn't question? You're the MPAA! That's your job, is to question.
They're probably barely paying attention. Like, you're acting like they're like studious. They just kind of go, PG-13! R!
Which is also invented during this time from Indiana Jones, which is crazy. So George and Steven have basically single-handedly revolutionized not only the film industry, but like human history.
Whoa.
That's crazy.
It wasn't their achievements with Star Wars and Indiana Jones. It was the fact we now have PG-13.
No. I'm saying like with all the stuff they invented for Star Wars, right?
Oh, like the technology, you mean?
Yeah, like all of that, and then then they do the Temple of Doom, and then they're like, okay, we got to make a whole new rating, and then like, from there, then it's like, should I let my kids see a PG-13 or not? And then it like completely creates a divide for culture.
It's ultimately arbitrary.
I'm just a sociologist.
Are you now?
I'm just a person who notices things in
I'm a noticer.
I'm a noticer in the political science area.
Oh my goodness.
Social sciences.
Okay. And then lastly, the trivia, like I said before, the voiceover narration in the film is based on the voiceovers in wildlife documentaries.
Kind of strange, but...
Which I think was smart. Maybe, I know George wanted to just do a full movie of just that, and then someone was like, we need to have people in It can't just be an Ewok nature documentary. So
That'd be so silly.
do you think critics liked this movie?
No.
No. On Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 23%.
Oh.
In his review for the New York Times, John J. O'Connor noted the film's story as being almost aggressively simple, quote unquote, and that, quote, Mr. Lucas and crew do not come up with anything terribly astonishing, end quote. With Marin County serving as the backdrop, looking, quote, like some never land east of the sun and west of the moon, end quote, O'Connor recognized most of the interactions as following well-established cinematic tropes, the notable ones being Sindel, quote, looking like one of those little blonde angels used to top off Christmas trees.
Yes, she did.
End quote, right? I thought that too. And Wicked, a performance by then 14-year-old Warwick Davis, whom O'Connor called, quote, the cleverest of the lot, end quote. And I noticed that too. This is the one that feels most like it's just Earth.
Yeah.
Like all the locations really just feel like places on Earth.
Yeah. I love it. I love Earth. I don't know why everyone's trying to go to space. We got enough problems going on Earth. Focus on the problems, okay? There's no time to be exploring space and getting unoxygenized and whatnot. Your head can explode in space. Just stay on Earth and your head won't explode, okay? We'll just figure things out here. Figure it out. You know, we got a lot of things. We got people things. We got environment things. We got business things. Political things. We got lots of things to work out here. Okay? There's no time for space. I'm sorry. It's very cool to say.
All right.
It's very cool to say you're an astronaut, but there's no time for that.
Can I continue? Are you off your soapbox?
Maybe. Well, also... Well, I guess maybe I shouldn't say that. Okay.
No, go on. You've already said
No.
it.
It's okay. Go on.
All right. You really want to say it? Just say it. Just say it.
I'm just not a fan of blonde children. They look
That's not. I didn't know what you were gonna say.
They look like little aliens, and yes, Sindel looks cute, and she has like her, she looks like a little Christmas tree topper. But why is her hair white?
It is like very blonde. I will say.
Not a fan.
Her hair looks like my grandmother's hair, like that kind of curly, thin.
Was it also blonde or was it?
Yeah, blonde.
The strawberry, or that was your mom's mom.
I'm talking about my mother's mother.
Oh, your dad's mom.
No, I'm not talking about her.
Strawberry hair, though.
Yeah.
I know somebody had strawberry hair.
I think it was dyed. Anyway, Colin Greenland reviewed Caravan of Courage for Imagine Magazine and stated that, quote, a casual catalog of magical folderol, which is basically just like a bunch of nothing, about various ancestral talismans carried by the questing koalas. It certainly did the trick for the 8 and 9-year-olds in the front row, but seemed to make little sense to their mums and dads, or to me, end quote.
You didn't say that very, correctly, and so I thought you said ancestral.
Ancestral, not ancestral.
Ancestral.
Modern reception is no better. On Letterboxd has a 2.36 out of 5. Here's some reviews that I found. Questing Koala. That'd be a good band name. Yeah. Ramobo writes, quote, fun fact, the budget of this movie is less than what it will cost to stay at the Disney Galactic Star Cruiser luxury hotel for 2 nights.
That's true.
And presumably this was written before the hotel closed.
Of course.
Justin Peterson says, sigh, all the nostalgia in the world could not save this bad Star Wars spinoff.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't really feel like Star Wars at all. The only thing that's similar is the Ewoks. And then it really could just be any other fantasy story.
But then, and Mace's outfit, but then Sindel's outfit kind of goes back to the classic, I don't know, like sterile, shiny, futuristic space people type of thing. She's like wearing aluminum foil, basically, right? So even that is not...
Because Star Wars has always felt very dingy and authentic.
It's not like Roby or anything, you know?
Roby-Wan?
Yeah, Roby-Wan. I don't know. But, yeah.
And I have another review here from Tobias Smiley Face.
Oh.
Is his username. It's not acknowledged enough how absolutely hideous Ewoks are.
No. I mean, yeah, it's creepy looking when they look at you for a long time because they have no eyelids and so they don't blink. But other than that, they're kind. They have no reason to help these children. Other than that they're children.
Doesn't mean they're not ugly looking.
No, I know, but I'm just saying that they're selfless people. They're a selfless people.
So they're selfless, ugly people.
They're not ugly!
Okay, but it has nothing to do with them being selfless.
I'm just saying.
It's like they are selfless. Therefore, they are cute.
Well, yes,
I think they're very cute.
They're cute and selfless.
I think they're very cute in wide shots. When you get too close, I'm like,
Well, then you get the non-blinking, and then that's where it just looks like they're staring at you. It's like in that. Trailer for Smile. It's like.
When they're smiling,
she's just smiling, but they're not blinking or anything, and it's like. They're giving them medicine. They're giving them a place to stay. Oh, all these things. Well, they did kind of kidnap them, which is a problem, but.
But then they were free to go.
You know. Yeah, I mean they can go. Whereas, like, what? Did she get? She got a name. Azangina, or something like that. The little light fairy. He put her in his pocket, so she was.
The Wisties.
She was not free. And then she flew off to go find her family, but her family went into the candle.
The magic candle.
Why not did she go into the candle?
There's a lot going on here.
And also, what is the candle for? Was that the use of the candle? Like the use of the stick? Or was that just like a second happenings? Because they each needed their little thing, right?
I don't know.
You needed the little crystal to hypnotize the spider.
Of course.
And to bring down the stalagmites, which I thought they would just hypnotize the Gorax. But I guess bringing down stalagmites too is also helpful.
And then one of them dies. The woodsman.
Yes, that's right. Oh my gosh. And then the Gorax gets murdered in his own home.
And then Mace's like, and he's like giving him the axe. And he's like, this is your axe. You're gonna need it.
I know. Why is he crying? He just met this guy 2 hours ago.
They've been through a lot together. Okay,
like,
it's been a couple days.
Like a day or so. Have they really developed their relationship that much? He was very much against getting him in the first place, or adding him in the first place, because he nearly crushed them all with a tree. So their relationship seems to be a bit intricate.
Yeah.
Who am I?
Who are you? That's what I'm wondering. Who are you? In terms of the legacy, modern reception has been largely...
I'm sorry, it just reminded me.
Modern reception has been largely negative. Shocker. With Aidan Mason, a pop culture beast, calling the movie, quote, a story without a sense of urgency and a chore to sit through. End quote.
And a what to sit through?
A chore.
A chore. Yeah.
A chode to sit through.
Yeah. Like, if it was just on in the background or whatever, that's cool. But I was, like, doing my nails.
It's very taxing if you were just to sit and watch it undivided attention for 96 minutes.
And then I stopped doing my nails, and I was just sitting there, and I was like, shit.
Yeah.
But, like, when I was doing my nails, so you couldn't say it was, like, just restless energy. Because I was, like, actively doing something, right, to distract my ADHD mind and focus. But I was still bored.
Yeah. So,
I don't like that boy.
No, he brings the whole thing down. The girl I can get behind, at least, because she's, like, just very flat, but he's just annoying.
Yeah.
Like, she's not bad, she's just...
She's bad.
Average. No, I just mean she's just, like, what you would expect.
Yeah.
Whereas he's, like, actively annoying.
Yeah.
With her, I don't put it past her. That's what I would expect from a 7-year-old child actor in a 80s TV movie. Like, she's exactly the quality I would expect.
Yeah.
He's just annoying. You know what I mean?
Oh, she was only, like, 6.
6 or something, yeah.
Yeah.
May have been
She
even...
was born in 79, and then this came out in 80.
She wasn't even alive when the first one was made. Talking about the
84. So 5 in this one, then 6 in the other one.
Okay. I'm glad we got that cleared up.
Don't be an asshole.
Several elements from the film have gone on to appear in other works of the Star Wars Expanded Universe, which was declared non-canonical and rebranded as Legends in 2014. So, like we talked about the different tiers of canon, this would have been like maybe the second or third level, because George Lucas did have a hand in it.
Well, you know, the dude is still alive. Maybe they should make it canon. Then they can, you know, it's like Marvel, contract him for like 10 movies.
10 more movies, yep. All right, Viviana, favorite part, if you had one. Favorite scene, character, actor, line, what?
I guess the graciousness of the Ewoks.
They really were courageous.
They kind of reminded me of like the indigenous, like Native Americans, like just like misunderstood but so kind and like willing to like help right away. Or at least some of them, not all. I believe the tomahawks would scalp you on sight, but other guys would.
Yeah, maybe. So does that make Mace Christopher Columbus? Finding them by accident, basically?
Yeah, he was gonna shoot them. And then he did try to run away in the night. Which was so stupid. Why were you running away in the night with a 5-year-old? First of all, you don't know where you are. Second of all, it's the fucking forest. You don't know what's out there.
It's all just forest.
And then also, you got a 5-year-old.
And it's not like you could be like, oh, well, I'll remember the way back. You were tied up looking up at the sky. You couldn't see what was around you on the way here.
Exactly. You don't even know what's there.
It's not like you can
But then you don't know what's out there. Like, different animals and creatures come out at night, sir. You know? Yeah. But then he stuck his hand in the tree.
And it was because it was like a little creature, and then it turned out to be actually a big creature.
Yeah.
Anyway, my favorite part, I think, is the title "Caravan of Courage," which is not the. If I interrupt you, it means I want to move on from your just mumblings.
The Caravan of Courage. That is a good one. It's cute.
I like that a lot, actually. Caravan of Courage.
Yeah.
And then they decided, nope.
It kind of reminds me of the Fellowship of the Ring. It's like the 6 of them, like
they're going off on this
adventure.
Okay, Viviana. 1 to 10.
I'm gonna give it a 5.
A 5. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck 4th of July. Okay.
Ow!
So why are you giving it a 5?
Ow!
What? What just happened?
Ow, I just hit my funny bone. Ow.
I'm sorry.
Ow. What do you want?
Nothing, I guess. It's a 5. So it's going to go in between The Empire Strikes Back, which you gave a 7, and the Holiday Special, which you gave a 4. So there's no...
It's definitely better than the Holiday Special and less creepy. But, yeah, I'm just kind of bored.
Mm-hmm.
And I love 80s films.
I know.
So...
And you love bad movies, too, so I'm surprised.
So that's saying something.
I'm surprised you don't like it more.
That's saying something.
I think I'm gonna give it a 6.
Whoa.
I think. And the reason why is it's kind of like the inverse of the Holiday Special, where the Holiday Special is mostly mediocre, and then every so often there's like an objectively bad part. This one is mostly mediocre, and then there's occasionally like, that's kind of neat. I like that VFX work. I like.
Yeah, Deej had his little skin glider.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So, I don't think I would ever really want to watch this again.
There were chickens. There was a ferret.
And again, I like just seeing old film photography and seeing that style of filmmaking. Yeah. Even if the movie surrounding it isn't very good.
It had lots of stuff in it.
There was lots of stuff. God damn it.
Yeah, like in the forest, there was lots of stuff, and then there were little creatures, and then, there was the occasional chicken, and so it was
the
fun.
Occasional chicken.
It was fun.
I love about these earlier Star Wars stuff. We didn't talk about it as much in the original films, but like if you make something Star Wars now, you could never get away with just having like an Earth chicken. Mm-hmm. It would have to be some weird, like space Star Warsy version. But I like this. It's just a chicken. In Empire Strikes Back, there's just a snakes, just like Earth snakes. And
yeah, there was just a bunny. It was just a bunny hanging
just like a regular Earth rabbit.
And then they had a ferret for some reason. I don't know. Maybe they had like a little farm or something. Or
lots of pets. Sometimes you need a ferret.
But
sometimes you need a ferret to make things happen.
They all didn't seem very surprised to see each other, even though they've never encountered each other before. So that was strange, but whatever. If you find another species, not like a race or anything, like an entire species, you would think it would be a little off-putting being the only humans on that planet, or seeing humans on your planet, you know? So, like, I know Gorax, I know other things, but I have no idea what this hairless monkey-looking thing is. What are you called? Humans?
Human.
I've never seen one of you guys before.
Yeah. All right.
But, anywho.
I think we're going to end this in the same spirit of the movie. Just kind of doing it. That's it for this week's episode of Now That's What I Call a Franchise. Next week, we'll be watching the next film in the franchise, the 1985 film Ewoks, The Battle for Endor, which, from my understanding, has nothing to do with the Battle of Endor we saw in Return of the Jedi. Viviana, where can they find us?
Okay. You guys can find us wherever you get your podcasts, and don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Franchise Podcast.
And if you have the time, leave a rating for us on Apple Podcasts, because apparently that helps.
And if you have even more time, leave us a review, too.
We know you have many podcasting options, and we thank you for choosing us. Peace out, guys.
Please.